So today is relationship talk. We're talking about meeting the right person or being with the wrong person and probably how to identify it.
Mm-hmm.
So let's basically start with our own stories. We're both in toxic relationships before.
I guess for me, it wasn't really toxic, but we just were not right for each other. I got together with my ex in my early 20s, and the thing about getting together with someone at that age, you just kind of change. After a while, you just evolve as a person.
Some people grow, like I've known couples who've been together since their teens or since early 20s and they are still married together and they're going great because they have evolved together. But it's not everyone. Some people just grow separately and there's so much happening in your 20s. For me, I just think my 20s have changed so much from beginning to the end. So I don't think I could have been with the same person in my early 20s. And if I would have married the person that I was with in my early 20s, I don't think I would be with that person anymore. Well, for me, I was in a very on and off relationship. I don't know if I can even call that a relationship. When I met Luke, there was a very strong attraction and there was a very strong chemistry, but that was the only thing. I always felt like I was pushing against something. We were on and off and it was hurting me, and then that person would tell me the nicest thing one day and then the day after would be so horrible, and it was all the time. So I was always stressed and anxious. But then I was really trying to make this work. So I was doing everything. I was spending my money. I was spending all my emotional energy, everything. I was only thinking about that person and how I could make it work. And I always felt like everything I was doing, either him or the universe would send me back something. There was always hurdles to go over. And I always felt like I was swimming against a current or something. It was stressful. That's the only thing I could describe. I had like panic attacks many times a day at some point because it was just too stressful. And then when I met Luke, right away, I was like, oh my God, this guy actually wants to spend time with me, wants to be with me during the day.
And was your ex always trying to give excuses for wanting to see you or not wanting to see you?
It was on and off. Sometimes he wanted to see me like all the time, and then I think when he was feeling like he was getting too attached, he was finding an excuse. I would pay money to go and see him because he was working he was working in Ayers Rock. I'm not giving his name, but he was working at Ayers Rock, which is the Central Australia in the middle of the desert.
You were based in Melbourne, were you?
I was based in Melbourne. And back then there was only one airline that was flying to Ayers Rock, and so it was expensive and it was complicated. Like it was not direct. Now it's much easier. So I was spending good money, and then I would go and see him, and he was working, which I understand. I didn't expect him to take some time off, but even on the days that he had off, he would spend his day watching DVDs and eating Vegemite on toast. That's just what I remember. And then drinking. So I was just like, you didn't even make an effort to just spend like quality time with me. So I was just so depressed. Like I was going there. One time I caught myself having a first drink before noon. I was just like, this is going really low. I don't think he was in a good place either. Because I know he's a good person, but he was in a very bad place. He was not in a good place in his life. So it was and probably not me either, or I was probably going towards a better place in my life. So it was just not working. And as I said, when I met you, I was really getting towards like knowing myself better and working on myself and really trying to make an effort. And then when I met you, I was like, oh my God, this is a guy who's I feel in the same journey that I am. You were working on yourself as well.
I think I was going through my own setbacks with my ex. Shortly after ending my relationship with my ex, I was kind of doing my own self-discovery and just finding out who I was. And then you came along and I think we just went along for the ride.
Yeah, yeah, it was just easy.
And I
That's
think
exactly what I thought.
the thing was that at that point when we met each other, I was in no way looking for anyone.
Same, because I was like, oh, to me, I was prepared. I was just like, I had this fantasy of Sex and the City, you know, Mr. Big. This is the worst. I'm a big Sex and the City fan, but this is the worst thing that was done to women, because women believe that this commitment phobic guy will
One day commit.
eventually run after her when she's with another guy and like and say, I've always loved you. And I had this feeling, I was thinking that the same thing was gonna happen with this guy, and I was like, okay, I was really not looking for someone else. So when I met Luke, I was right away, pretty much, I was just like, oh my god, like there's actually someone who actually does care about me, wanna be with me.
And I think from a guy's perspective, if I'm interested in a girl, I want to spend time with her. And I've spoken to friends where they give excuses for guys. Oh, maybe he's busy, maybe he's got his friends.
Is not emotionally ready. Usually they say that this guy was not emotionally ready.
Well, I just came out of about
9
7
year?
Well, yeah, 7 not like, I'm always bad with dates. But yeah, 9 year relationship.
He was engaged.
I
And
was
he
engaged.
broke an engagement. Like, this is not a emotionally available guy. Like, by definition, I was a rebound. Basically what happened is, yeah, it's because at first I was like, I'm not gonna make the same mistake than with the previous guy. Because he never wanted us to be something official. It was always like, oh, you're a friend. And it, for almost 2 years, I was just like, this is ridiculous. I am never, ever taking that again. Obviously, I didn't do that on the first week that we met. I gave him about a couple months, you know, so I was living in Brisbane for some reasons then, and then I was visiting him quite often in Melbourne. And then I said, so first two months I gave him some space, and we were talking like every day on the phone. But at some point he was talking to someone, and you called me my friend. And I said, it just hit something in me. I was like, I am not being called my friend by a guy that I'm falling in love with. And I said, like, I was just too clear. And I was like, look, I am falling in love with you, and hearing you calling me your friend, I am not your friend. I want to be more than that. And you were like, you know, I'm really falling in love with you too.
But I guess I just could not at that point fathom committing, because I was just in a pretty long relationship, and we just ended it, and I just could not.
And you were telling me things like, I don't want to be unfair to her. I think you were scared that she would hear about it and like be mad or something. You didn't want to hurt her. And I was just like, who do you want to hurt more? Me? Because you're hurting someone anyways. You're hurting me or you're hurting her. I am not wanting to be mean there, but to me it was like, make a choice. You're always going to hurt someone. Say either me or her. And I basically, it's like, it's either you're with me or you're not. Like, it's a little bit of a George Bush ultimatum. But yeah, it would have been hard. I would have had to mend the broken heart, but I wanted to nip it in the bud earlier than the previous guy. Be like, okay,
and not waste any time, waste any of your time.
No, and it's something that I'm actually really proud that I did. And yeah, quickly, I feel like you got a bit stressed at the beginning, but I think everything went really easy.
Everything went really easy, and I thought about it, because I was falling in love with you, and you know, it was just like, should I or should I not? And I just decided, screw it, I'll just say yes, I'll commit. And when I made that decision, everything just kind of fell into place.
Yeah, for me as well, like everything in my life that I had always wanted, like, was starting to happen in some ways. And I'm not saying that our life has been absolute pink and perfect since then. Like, we've had our struggles. Every day there's little struggles, but overall everything
just kind of
falls into place.
Yeah.
And it's smooth and easy. Yeah. And yeah, no, and I never feel I always say that Luke is the only person. I'm somebody who likes my own company. I usually cannot spend too much time with other people. I feel better on my own, even though I get energy from other people, but I recharge by myself. And Luke is the only person that I can actually recharge in in his presence. So that to me that just told me right away it is the right person for me, because yeah, I am happy with his company all the time. So yeah, to me that was a big indication, and that's why I feel like everything's just been happening well and pretty smoothly.
And every day we just, although we've been together for
Almost for 6 years.
over 6 years, it always feels like, it still feels new in a way, and it doesn't feel. There are times where that we have argued and I have raised my voice, but at the end of the day, I know when I've raised my voice, I know it's my ego becoming the better of me, and it's just about putting my pride down and going over and just hugging you and just saying, like, I'm sorry, or let's not argue, and then we just kind of move on. Because in my past relationship, it was not that simple, because we were quite different in the way we dealt with things. So we're married now, and I've advised a few friends, female friends actually. It's like they were always telling me, oh, I've got this guy, he says he likes me, loves me, and kind of there's this kind of pushing of energy, taking of energy. And I say, if a guy's really into you, he will make time for you, he will commit. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely. There's always that exception. There's always the Mr. Big, but it's 1 on, I don't know, 1 million. Like it's the exception that makes the rule, because usually it's true. I remember this psychopop book. It's called "He's Not That Into You," and it's full of cliche, but the jinx of it is actually really good. I honestly based a lot of my it helped me a lot in my dating, even though I went through, but I'd always that in the back of my mind, and it always helped me to see clear. So it's pretty simple. If the guy doesn't want to spend time with you, he's not that into you. If the guy doesn't want to be with you in a committed relationship, he's not that into you. It's very simple, and yeah, like most of the time it is true.
And as a guy, if I'm not into that girl, back in the day, I probably want the best of both worlds. I want to have I want to have fun. I want to get in a bed with you, but at the same time, I don't want you to be my girlfriend, in front of my friends and things like that. I although I wasn't single for a really long time, but the time that I was single, I had that kind of, all right, I'm a single guy just wanting to have fun. And I know of guys like that as well, who just want to just have fun with a girl, but at the same time want them to be, in a way, exclusive, while they can just kind of go around and just do what they do.
Yeah. So yeah. No. So I think yeah. Same. I've been advising a lot of people, and I'm always very. I think if a girl wants to meet her, tell her what she wants to hear. Like, oh yeah, no, I think
he might turn around.
Yeah, I might turn around. I'm not the person. I'm very direct when it comes to giving relationship advice, and I'd say 90% of the time I'm right, because there's always the exception. But
Same
yeah.
for me as well. I say, look, from a guy's perspective, he's just not into you.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Yeah. So yeah, I think the right relationship feels easy. I mean, there's always struggles, but the right relationship feels easy, and yeah, I think that's the rule to me.
I find the easiest thing in an argument is just to put your ego aside, and for Emily, sometimes you just get really upset and really emotional. But sometimes I personally want to push the emotional button. Maybe it's ego, but I know what I really need to do is just go over and hug you, and not talk and try and justify and try and give reasons for the way that I am, but just go over and hug you. And so guys, if your partner or your wife or your girlfriend is upset or crying, just go over there and just hug them.
Yeah.
It's very simple.
Yeah. So yeah, I hope it I hope if you're in a bad relationship at the moment, maybe it gives you the little push to maybe do something, or it inspires you, or if you were wondering if the relationship you're in right now,
And I think you instinctively know. I think all of us have this inner wisdom. We know when something does not feel right, but years may pass, but we just choose not to acknowledge our intuition. And then something bad happens and everything turns to shit. But your intuition's always right, and learn to listen to it. If the relationship is meant to be, you know,
yeah, things just happen to make that relationship work.
and you'll want to work at it. But if it isn't, don't waste any more time. So I guess we'll leave it as that. We'll see you next time.
Bye.